Apart from when I walk back into the dark and I can't see a bee thing.
As soon as we're on camera, I'm going to introduce you as Simon Pollard,
Good
advocate
move.
for mental health awareness, outdoors extraordinaire. What is that?
That's cool. I can live with that. Okay. Absolutely.
Well, I came aware about you when Natalie, my friend, I think she's everybody's friend, told me about you. Well, she didn't tell me too much. She was doing walks around, learning about sort of nature, obviously the plant life, but also encouraging people to be out there and talking about their mental health as well. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, Nat is one of my wife's best friends. So I've known Nat as Tall Nat, Mad Nat for ages. She did come out on one of my view over the wall experiences 2-3 years ago probably now. And as you know, the view over the wall, they tied in with a book that I'd written. So we called them the View Over the Wall experience because that kind of went with the View Over the Wall, which was the book.
Okay.
And the book was very much about our connection to the world, our place in the world, and how we might use that to best work on our own mental health, and how we can actually use the outdoors to improve the choices that we make, the places where we think, to actually give ourselves space, because ultimately the outdoors is where we were designed to grow. It's where we were designed to live. It's part of our heritage, it's part of our DNA, and all it actually asks of us is that we look after it. It gives us air, it gives us the materials we need, it gives us the food we need, and it asks for nothing more than we look after it. And sometimes I feel we're not doing the best job at that.
I think too many people are still stuck in forgetting that we're animals, that, you know, although we have these squidgy bodies that put clothes on and go to work every day, we are still, you know, animals floating on a rock in space.
We are. The difference is that we do have the power of imagination, of creativity, of perception, of awareness, of self. The ability to actually go, do you know what? I want to change something, and have the power to do that. As far as I'm aware, we are the only creature on this planet that has those gifts. The question is, what do we do with those gifts? And I think in many cases, we've either forgotten about them or we abuse them. I mean, even on a simple and a basic level, we breathe in air, which is roughly a mixture of oxygen and carbon dioxide. We breathe in oxygen and we use it, we convert it to carbon dioxide and we breathe it back out. There are other gases there. Trees breathe in that same air and they burn up the carbon dioxide and put oxygen back in the air. Now for me that's a relatively simple operation to understand. Without any trees, we die.
Yeah.
But what do? Most of the time, we cut them down. I know you've got to cut some of them down, or you've got to trim them, or take out the dangerous bits. And there are times when, yes, we all want to build a house where a tree is arrogantly standing. But the basic principle is, look after the trees.
Yeah.
Same way as look after the bees.
In a second, I'm going to ask you another question, but I just realised I didn't put my phone on airplane mode, and I don't want a text message or a phone call to come through and be annoying.
Yeah, I've just been recording the audio for one of my books.
Oh, I like a book. I've just got another book. I've got a couple of other books to do, book review. So I'll have to have a copy of your book to read it so I can do a review. And I've got a few authors I want to try and promote. I wanted to ask you though, what started you on the journey of doing this? Because you've been doing it for how many years?
Loads. To be fair,
time is just a human construct.
Yeah, and the measurement of it. I always knew as a child that the outside was the best place to go and sort stuff out. And as a child, when my world wasn't the way I wanted it to be, I would clear off out into the countryside until either such time as I'd sorted out how I needed to manage and sort things out, or effectively it was tea time and I'd get in trouble if I didn't go home. Lost a lot of that, but it was one of the things that I guess that was a symptom of, I didn't realise as a child, as a young man, as a teenager, that I was managing quite chronic anxiety. I thought everybody was dealing with the same stuff and I was managing it badly. And then, of course, as you do, you discover things like beer. And beer numbs pain. And because it numbs pain, it kind of like, you tend to drink more of it. And the more of it you drink, the less effect it has, so you have to drink more of it. So I spent probably 35 years of my life masking that anxiety with alcohol, spending a fair amount of time still in the countryside because I still got that peace thing, but not really understanding what I was doing, why I was where I was, why I was doing what I was doing. And I think that I always fundamentally understood that connection, even if I misunderstood an awful lot of other things. So, you know, and since I've been lucky enough to manage to make some really cool decisions by myself, you know, I stopped drinking, not because anybody else stood in or whatever else. I couldn't deal with the trail of destruction I was leaving behind me. And then I started to talk to people, and I started to research things, and I wanted to understand what the problems were, because I still didn't realise for me that I was dealing with this anxiety thing until I actually sat down with somebody else at a meeting, and they started talking to me about what they were experiencing, and those light bulbs are going on, you know, ping, 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 that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me, and you're like, whoa, this makes an awful lot of sense, I get this. And actually that realisation came from a conversation sitting in the back garden, my back garden, under a beech tree by a pond, and I actually managed to shut up and listen. I am okay at shutting up and listening, believe it or not. And from there, that just kind of led me on several different journeys. I was already doing the outdoor experiences. I'd already, at that point, had I written the second book? I can't remember. Old age is kicking in. But that countryside thing is, for me, as I say, it's primal. It's part of who we are, what we are. And I think an awful lot of our difficulties come from removing ourselves from that world. I believe quite firmly that our bodies remember, even if our brains have forgotten. You know, maybe you are aware, generally when I walk outside, even if I'm not thinking about it, I will stop for a moment, take a deep breath of fresh air before I carry on. And that just tells me that my body's remembered. You know, when you go out in the countryside and you actually got that level of awareness, and you walk into the woods especially, the woods are the most amazing natural filter. They filter the world anyway, because you've got all these leaves and everything that blows through. They filter out the dust and the particles and everything else, but they filter out a lot of the noise in here, and you can feel it just drop away. And sometimes you can even feel that level of energy just start to course through your body.
I've felt it. I've felt it even looking at a flat sea like we've got today.
Yeah.
Or even actually at a stormy sea. In fact, I've had enjoyment standing at the edge of a cliff, just feeling the energy from, you know, a stormy sea. But again, still finding the same peace and relaxing in a forest, even actually on a very windy day. It's accepting the elements, all the different elements. It doesn't have to be just a completely calm and peaceful day. In my opinion, I don't know if you agree with that. I think it's too hard to forget those places when you're too busy looking at the concrete that we put everywhere. You know, your feet are always on some kind of asphalt or concrete or, you know, hard standing of some sort. I actually, by the way, for anyone who's wondering, we're at the Bella Vita on the seafront with the cliffs and the castle. I like to go and walk on the cliffs from time to time barefoot, when it's a little bit muddy as well.
Do you know, I need to do that. I haven't done that one. It's only the last couple of years I've actually had enough bottle to take my boots and my shoes off and actually walk around barefoot. And I haven't even got any lawn at home. So beech trees just wick out all of the water, so it just became that muddy slush. And the ladies don't like muddy slush. But following up one of the things that is most amazing is being outside when it's tipping down with rain, as long as you're not getting wet.
Yeah.
You know, again, I used to design gardens. My own garden, part of our pergola has got a roof over it. So unless the wind is making the rain horizontal, we've had fantastic evenings sat out there. You know, you watch the sky go dark. You watch the level of electricity rise. And you watch those clouds come across and the rain start to come down, and it's coming down so much that it's going back up about a foot.
Yeah.
And the dogs are going, whoa, because they sense it even more than we do. And then the lightning starts coming and the thunder starts rumbling. And it's just an energy and a vitality that if you don't go looking for it, you don't find. And it's there, it's on our doorstep. You know, for me, when the heavens open, I'm like, how can I get a connection to this? How can I take some energy from that? Because that helps you feel alive.
Talking about finding connection with nature, though, because before we get too into the weeds, I want to talk about your event you're doing in Sittingbourne.
We've got an event we're running in Sittingbourne. It's called Pathfinder. It's for men. And it's for men and their mates. You know, it'd be fantastic if bookings, you know, if people sort of said, can I come and bring my friends? Yes, you can. What are we going to do? We're going to spend 3 days outdoors. Day one, we're going to meet up, sort out the basics. We're going to go for a walk. But it's not just a walk, it's a walk of connection. It's a walk of experience. It's a walk of grounding. We just actually spend some time slowing down and becoming present where we are, in the place that we are, and take some time out and actually learn to jettison the noise for a bit of peace and calm. That first evening, we're going to have a barbecue around a bonfire, and we're going to sit and talk, and we're going to tell tales. That's good. Which I think we need to spend more time conversing away from mobile phones. Day two, when we've woken up fairly early, we're going to be spending some time just shooting some arrows, doing some archery. We're going to light fires without matches, without lighters. You know, the old way. There's something very primeval and exciting about lighting a fire. Anyway, but to do it without those little modern contraptions is empowering. The afternoon, I have to admit, I'm quite excited. The venue are bringing in some venison.
Oh.
So we're going to be actually preparing some venison to eat. We're going to be doing some foraging, and we're going to make a venison stew for the evening.
Is this everyone getting involved with the cooking?
This is everyone getting involved. You know, everyone getting their hands on and taking us back to a semblance of the life that we've lost and forgotten. Again, that evening, we're going to sit around the fire and we're going to chill and we're going to tell stories. We're then obviously going to crash again. The last day is going to be fairly simple. We're going to have another walk, but it's going to be just about absorbing what we've done. Now, the most amazing thing, and we can't get this across, these places, we've got some sponsorship, we've got some funding. So this is 3 days. Everything is included for a grand total of 100 quid, £100.
Bargain.
Which is an absolute bargain. The only thing you're probably going to want to bring, apart from your clothes, is a sleeping bag. Personally, I don't want to climb in a sleeping bag that's been used by anyone else.
No.
But so you want to bring a sleeping bag. But I mean, yeah, all of that will be there. But it's all contained, it's all organised, it's all planned, and it is just a chance for 12, maybe 13, 14 at a push, but primarily we're looking at 12 blokes to come out and take some time out and take some skills away with them that just maybe they can use for the rest of their days.
See, I mean, you live quite close by. You're out in the sticks there, aren't you? Would you bring it closer to Dover by any chance?
We would. Again, we need to work this one through, but in principle, we would run it anywhere that works. I mean, there's absolutely no reason not to bring it to Dover. I've done many of my one-day activities and walks around Dover and in the locality. if by same token, if somebody came and said, look, we've got 12 people, can you set one of these things up? Then, yeah, absolutely. It's...
Well, I've messaged to you before the Great Farthing Barn, the wedding barn, not to be mistaken with the restaurant on the other side, which is also a good establishment. There's space up there to have quite a large mini festival, as it was, around this sort of thing as well. But why? I understand it to be just for men, but would there be any kind of adaptation to try and bring it to both male and female at the same time, or do you think it's not really is there a deep escapism?
No, ultimately, when we started actually putting this out there were 2 or 3 women who did come up to us and say, I'll kill for this.
Is there no equivalent?
So I don't know if there's an equivalent event for women or not, but certainly in the first instance we set it up for men. Men's mental health is a big topic, a topic of discussion, and we look to address that. But we have definitely been thinking about a similar event for women, and possibly even couples. It's difficult to say it would be great for families, because some of the concepts you need a certain amount of emotional maturity to get your head around. But as far as I'm concerned, if we can get this up and get this rolling, then we should be looking at trying to cater for different groups, for definite.
It's a big thing. So part of trying to do this, what I'm doing here, is eventually I want to take it down the route of just letting people know that they can put on their own, to look at Dover, it has so much potential. There's so many resources, spaces, etc. that can be used. But it just feels like sometimes, because I worked for DDC for a little bit as well in the community development department, that a lot of people don't know what they can sort of try and arrange, or maybe they don't know where to start. So I want to try and help it, not like a consultant really, because I'm no expert, but try and help people along the way of saying, look, hey, we've got these issues that need addressing in our town, from mental health to tourism to high streets. Why don't you facilitate something? Because I can't do it all by myself, and no one can really do it all by themselves. So there is the potential out there to be utilising all these different spaces, putting on all these different groups. Obviously, you're not going to be able to put on every kind of mental health group out there, because surely that's going to be a toll on yourself. But there could be others out there that are willing to facilitate things.
I think we need to be making a concerted effort to use people at what they want or are best at doing. I am far better at running these events than I am a digital marketing strategist. And for example, there are people that have venues that, and it is about, it's tying up, so we've just come from a networking meeting, but it is about, I think, getting people together who have a same or very similar end goal but have different skills. It's I do struggle with the fact that there are times, and we're always told when the beginning of a business you've got to do everything, because there isn't always the funds there to do it. But if there's an end goal and you've got a group of people with different skills, then that's got to be the most powerful end result. Very much so. And I hope to God that I don't ever have ego issues. When somebody comes up and says, I can do this, I'm very prone to going, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely. I know my strengths and weaknesses, and that's why I like to be an ideas person. But I've come across too many people that have a slight bit of an ego problem, that wouldn't want to take on another person. I'll come up with an idea, but I might not know how to execute it. But there's people out there that don't want to take on somebody else's idea because they feel like I would want the credit for it or something. And saying, well, I don't want the credit for it. If something happens, something happens. That's credit to everyone. Everybody brought it together. So I've found that sometimes to be a little bit of a situation where people don't want to take on another person's idea sometimes. But I think that's changing slowly.
It is changing slowly, but I'm very much of the opinion, especially where we're dealing with mental health, with well-being. For me, there is no room for competition. I remember talking to a colleague a while ago, because within charities they all tend to see each other as competition. However, if you're putting something together, why not talk to each other, come up with a plan, because 50% of anything is an awful lot more than 100% of nothing.
100%, yeah.
You know, let's talk to each other. You know, it's the basic skill that we've got. You know, chimpanzees don't tend to have conversations. Elephants don't tend to have conversations. They have means of communicating, but they can only go so far with the skills that they've got. So let's use these gifts that we've got as human beings. Let's use them positively. Let's use them constructively, and ultimately, let's actually spend the time being nice to each other. Let's support each other. Let's celebrate difference, and move forwards as a single entity, organism, whatever else it is. Because I think, what else is there?
Yeah.
Just there's a lovely phrase that I think it was Monty Python. It might not be. My wife gets fed up with me saying it, but it's like human beings. Isn't that the organism that hung a bloke on a tree for said, start again, you'll edit this out later. Isn't that the organism that said, that nailed a bloke to a tree for saying, hey folks, wouldn't it be nice to each other? And it's a really simple visual analogy, but it's true.
Yeah, no, 100%.
If everybody was at peace on the inside, the noise of the outside would be of no consequence.
Very true words.
You know, world peace starts here first. You heard it here first.
I was going to keep this one short because I wanted to come back to you another time and get all that. No, because I've got all my equipment and I wanted to do like a proper one with yourself. But this was just a quick one to talk about the event you're doing in Sittingbourne. Get to know who you are a little bit more. I knew a little bit about you. I'm going to post some of your socials on the thing that I upload, etc. You know, explaining about what you're doing. But as I say to everyone, is I'm pretty sure we could talk, you know, a lot longer about a whole different kind of subjects. But this, maybe I'll come along to the one in Sittingbourne. In fact, actually, have you got a media person?
No.
Oh, I'll come along and do the filming. I'll pay the £100 as well, it's fine.
That'd be cool.
But other than that, you know, it's just a quick one. I mean, is there anything you'd like to say? Anything that...
It's put him on the spot. Yeah, usually I've got a lot to say. But it is, I think, one of the biggest difficulties we have, especially in this day and age, is people are not aware of their place and their within the world. I think a lot of people have settled for and are spending their time numbing their world with alcohol or tobacco or sex or adrenaline or whatever it is. And I think there's a lot of people that could be a lot happier with a few simple techniques and a little bit of awareness. And this, if you like, is one part, one strategy, one means of moving forwards to try and help people achieve that. If you find yourself saying, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if. I've always done it this way. And tend to find yourself not fixing something until it's a disaster. You know, we never fix the hole in the roof until there's water coming through our ceiling. Then I think we can be a lot happier. We're not here for very long. So our sole responsibility, as long as it's not at the expense of anyone else, is to be happy.
I agree with that. Thank you, Simon.
Cheers.
Next time we'll have a chat, I'll bang on about my own mental health. I used to drink every day in the pub. I don't. I know I've had a little half, but it's my day off today. But I used to drink every day in the pub, and then I realised that's not a healthy place to be. So now I just go to the pub a couple of times. But you know.
I spent 2-3 years not drinking after I realised that I couldn't cope with the trail of destruction I was leaving behind me.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years, the problem is it tastes bloody good.
Who doesn't like a beer?
So, but for me, it's just there's a level of fuzziness. And the minute I hit that, I just back off.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I have no desire to go back to that place at all. At all. Ever.
Anything else about the Sittingbourne event? Oh, what's the dates?
Dates, 2nd to 4th of May.
2nd to 4th of May. What's the name of your book?
Name of the book you want to be looking at is The Sheeple Principle.
Ah, yes, that's been mentioned to me before. And where can you buy it?
From me.
Just
on my
directly
website.
Or on your website.
You can buy it from Amazon. Please don't, because they get all the money and I get very little.
Yeah.
Buy it from me.
Send it in the mail.
I'll send it in the mail. You can buy it from simonpollard.uk or the boot of my car if you happen to be close enough. And it's great. We're getting some seriously high level accreditation now. It's not just Simon going, hey, it's my book and it's brilliant. We've got testimonials from Vicky Bailey, who's the Veterans Clinical Mental Health Nurse for Essex NHS.
Oh, I should have asked you actually, do you have any studies or qualifications in mental health?
I'm a mental health first aider.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a qualified teacher with a huge amount of lived history.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think you always need a PhD necessarily or all the training. I know I just said, we'll wrap this up now, but just I was seeking I was told I should have gone for a psychotherapist, but I was seeking counselling not so long ago, so I went for a free half-hour session just to see if it was any use to me. Someone who'd been doing it for years, qualification. And one of their first questions to me was, why are your shoelaces not tied up? As if it was looking for some kind of maybe laziness. And I was just like, well, comfort's style, just slip my feet in, don't need to have your shoelaces tied up anyway, anymore these days. And then the second question was, why are you afraid of failure? To which I said, I'm not afraid. I've failed so many times in my life and I've learnt so much from failure. So I'm not afraid of that. So it put me off because it just sounded like it was already, loaded questions from a textbook kind of thing. And it was just like, well, maybe it's not for me.
It's, I totally agree with what you just said there. But I also think an awful lot of the problems we have in this world are based on fear. In a lot of cases, it is fear of failure and perfectionism. But I also think one of the other biggest fears that we need to address is our fear of what we perceive other people think of us.
Yeah. Everyone's too busy worried about what they're doing to worry about what you're doing.
And when you actually realise that no one really gives a monkeys about you because they're too worried about themselves, it's actually liberating. Very, very liberating. We've got somebody in our family and he's got some real difficulties, and virtually all of his decisions are based on what he perceives other people think of him, even to his own detriment. And it's frustrating because for me, I'm too close, but I'm not close enough to actually do anything really to help him. But every decision he makes is based on his perception of what he believes other people think.
I've been seeing on social media, and I don't try to spend too much time on that, obviously, but I look every now and then, of people that have been going into very public places and just lying on the floor and just looking like they're sort of having a nap. And the idea behind it is to just realise that these people are passing you for a split second. What does it matter what they think that you're doing, And it's kind of an interesting point, just don't worry about what everyone else is thinking. It's odd to find somebody of this, like laying in the middle of a train station floor or something, but yeah, I understood the idea behind it.
I've just bought a book. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. Well, there's two of them. The first one's called The Courage to be Disliked.
Yeah.
The second one is The Courage to be Happy. And I kind of like the idea behind that because it actually does take a huge amount of bottle to be the person you believe you are or wish to be, rather than the person that your partner thinks you should be, your employer thinks you should be, your friends think you should be, your children think you should be. Because everybody has an opinion. And there comes a point when actually, I'm me. Because the place where you're happiest is when you are feeling most authentically yourself. And again, it's not a major thing, but it's a major thing. Why do I wear the stuff I wear? I wear it because I want to wear it and I'm comfortable in it and I own it. I didn't wear it for 30, 40 years because I was too worried about what everybody else thought. And I remember the first time I bought one of these coats and I stood outside my own front door. And it took an awful lot of determination to actually open that front door. And it took an awful lot of determination to step out of that front door. And do you know what happened when I stepped out of that front door?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Maybe a few looks at someone that's actually going, that's a nice coat, that jacket.
Yeah, I mean, there's two things that have come from it. One is I do get an awful lot of compliments, and I have to admit I like it. Secondly, people remember me. I hadn't thought about that when I started doing it. And the biggest example is I went up to 2 years ago. I went to the Baton of Hope conference in Sheffield, and I had one of my big blue coats on. And I was talking to a gentleman called Steve Phillip later that year on Zoom. Steve Phillip is the head of the Jordan Legacy, and he's a pretty phenomenal fella. And I remember at that conversation he was saying, so were you at the Baton of Hope conference? I said, yeah, I was the bloke in the blue frock coat. He said, gotcha. Now last December I went up to the Jordan Legacy's Hope for Life conference in Harrogate, and I walked in and Steve just came straight over, hello Simon, how you doing? Now I hadn't realised at any point that was going to be the end result of, a result of wearing the stuff that I wear, but I'll take it every day of the week because it works. It's becoming a brand now. It wasn't part of the plan, but again, I'm happy, I'm comfortable with it, I like it. Spending a small fortune on coats these days, but now I've currently got one sitting in Pakistan. I've got no idea when it's going to arrive because of Donald bloody Trump.
Yeah.
But
no, I think people should do that, embrace that. Normally I'm quite bland in some of my clothing or very earthy, but sometimes every now and then I like to wear something alternative and fun. So, I get that.
I had a shade of black for every occasion.
Right, I'm losing the sun now. So, right, thank you again, Simon.
Yeah, I may as well.
That was good.